Hey, everybody! Uh-oh. Can we start over?
I don't know. No.
No? It's Ron Bass with another edition of The Ron Bass Show. Your source for inspiration, encouragement, motivation, a little bit of humor, maybe a lot of humor. Okay, over here, Mr. Brent Atterbury, our marketing guru.
Glad to be here.
Our executive producer.
Oh, big words, big titles.
Sorry, I got a little too loud the last time, and Brent said, you got to tone it down a little bit because I'm too loud. And then it came across too loud on the microphone. So
your voice carries.
My voice does carry.
Yeah.
I was telling Brent, ever since I've been a little kid, I had this ability to project my voice, and so that's why I got so involved in speech and debate and all those sorts of things early on in my career. Doing my own TV and radio commercials for my home repair business all these years, so that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And now, we graduated. We got our own podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yay! That's pretty cool, huh?
Yes.
So last time, we were talking about distractions, part 1.
Oh, part 2?
Today we're going to do part 2. And then I've got another surprise after that.
A surprise?
Yeah.
All right.
I like surprises.
I do
you?
too.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about all these different reasons why it's so easy to get off track. Not to use a pun, because I was in the gym today running.
On the track.
Bad pun. And so this is what happens, guys. I believe very strongly that the biggest distraction that we have in life is ourselves. And all these different things that get in our way all day long as we're going through this labyrinth, trying to get to the other side, and we keep running up against these brick walls. In fact, today on the treadmill or on the Stairmaster, I kept thinking, man, oh man, all these brick walls. Every time I turn around, there's a brick wall, there's a brick wall, there's a brick wall. Something that's getting in my effing way to get to where I'm trying to get to. And I know that people listening out there have got to feel the same way, because I get a lot of messages from our podcast regarding, hey, this podcast is really helpful because it keeps me on track, keeps me straight, keeps me focused, helps me to get through the day better, because we're shooting straight from the hip. We're not giving people a bunch of baloney. Where'd that come from? Baloney versus BS. We're not
Some
giving
people like baloney.
Some people like baloney.
They
What
do.
about, like, why couldn't it be something like like pepperoni or
Pepperoni's good. I like pepperoni.
You like pepperoni too.
Yeah.
I like pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
So we're not giving people a bunch of baloney. We're giving them the straight scoop.
It should be
The
like
straight scoop.
elephant dung or something.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Where did the straight scoop come from? What does that come from? What does that mean?
scoop?
I have all these sayings and I don't have any idea where they came from.
I'll have to write them all down and research
And
them.
research them? Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, Pickle. Here's the deal, guys. Get it, dill pickle? That's an old joke too.
Yeah.
We have too many reasons why we don't stay the course, why we get off track, why we don't continue on and go forward to reach our goals. And when I say goals, it could be, I'm not saying you got to set a goal to be a billionaire. That's cool, but how about just very simple, basic goals? I set 2 goals every year. One goal is a personal goal, something along the lines of improving my own life. And the second goal is financial. It doesn't have to be like, hey, I want to make $1 million. It could be, I just like maybe make an extra $10 an hour or $2 an hour, an extra $10,000 this year, something reasonable. And then what will happen if you get to that goal, then reset the goal before the end of the year. If the end of the year comes along and you haven't made it that far, it's okay. Reset the goal for 1 more year. Date it and sign it. Take the back of a business card. We've talked about it before. And on the back, just date it and sign it. And guess what? That's like a contract to yourself. It becomes a legal binding document to yourself. And when you recite that goal every day, because you put it in your pocket, maybe next to your credit card, which you're probably going to use a lot, every time you touch that packet or that card, you're going to remind yourself, you're going to say to yourself that goal over and over and over again all day long. And there's a rule of psychology, a law. You become what you think about. It's a law. It's not like science fiction. It's not like a theory. It is a law. And the other law of psychology is you become who you surround yourself with. So like I've said before, man, have I got a problem? Only kidding. He's looking around to see if somebody else is in the room. Okay. But no, seriously, guys, you gotta be smart about these things. It's not that complicated. Success, I was telling a friend in the gym the other day, it's not that hard. In fact, he's a multimillionaire. This guy used to own the gym that I go to, and he built it up over the course of like 30 years to where he started with maybe 100 students, and when he ended, he had something like 5 or 10,000 paying members. I mean, it was a lot. Wow. And he sold the gym, this was about 10 years ago, he sold the gym to a company that owned, I think they owned like 80 gyms across the country. So that they had deep pockets. I don't know what they paid him, but I know it was in the millions because their yearly revenue was pretty terrific. And the guy owned the real estate, et cetera, et cetera. But I told him, I said, Dan, I said, success is not that complicated. People make it way too hard. You and I are in the gym every single day. We have to earn our rank every single day. We can't rest on our laurels. We can't say, oh, look at me, I made $1 million and I don't have to do anything else. No, that was yesterday. Every single day, guys, you have to earn that rank. You have to pay your dues. You have to pay, we used to say you have to pay the rent. In other words, you have to pay your dues every single day. So why don't we do this? Why does this not happen to so many of us? Okay, distractions. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Here's the rest of the distractions I want to talk about today. Things that get in the way, things that get in our way of accomplishing our goals. Lack of motivation. Now, why do we have a lack of motivation? It could be a lot of things. It could be depression. Look, guys, some people are just born with depression. It's not like you have to have something really bad happen to you. And it's really unfortunate, but when you have a chemical imbalance and you're born with this chemical imbalance, you're going to be depressed. So there's only a couple ways to counter depression. Exercise is the best way, in my opinion. If that doesn't work, you need to get on medication, counseling, psychiatrist. I can speak from my own personal experience. From the age of like 17 to like 30, I went to counseling and I had a psychiatrist. I was born with certain disorders, and it was along the lines of obsessiveness, anxiety. I had what they call agoraphobia, which meant that it was difficult for me to get out in open spaces. I know it sounds weird to say all this now because you look at me and go, I'm very extroverted, I'm very outspoken, and et cetera, et cetera. But there was a time it wasn't like that. I really, really, really struggled. So if I can do it, you can do it. You may need to get medical support. That's okay, man. Don't think that it's not okay. It is okay. Whatever it takes to get you back on track. Not to use another pun.
Yes.
Okay. Depression is a big problem, and it really screws up your motivation. Drugs. Ooh. It's everywhere, and it's getting worse. You know why? Because doctors push these drugs on their patients. I can tell you, man, I got addicted to drugs when I was going to the psychiatrist. Ativan, Valium. They started giving me Valium at 13 years old. I'll tell you why. For some weird reason, I had a problem with my hand. It would start shaking. And it was a weird shake. It wasn't like Parkinson's. It was like a spasm, and it would last for like 4 or 5 minutes. So I remember getting on a bus, literally a city bus. Back then it was like 5 cents to get on the bus. Go downtown Springfield, Missouri, and I went to a doctor's office at 13, right? You couldn't do this today. And he says, oh, don't worry, I'll give you some medication. He gave me Valium. Now, in retrospect, I don't think that's what was wrong, but that's what he thought. So here I am at 13 years old taking Valium. And then that graduated into my brother started giving me hydrocodones. And the next thing I know, I'm pill shopping because I couldn't get enough medication from the doctors and the psychiatrists. So I would go on the street, try to find medication. And this went on until I was probably 30 years old. It was terrible. And finally, between I think 30 and 35, I said, no more. I got to be strong enough to kick this habit. And I did, including cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes like 3 packs a day. Kicked all those habits. And you know what that did to me? It gave me such a sense of confidence within myself that I could overcome anything. If I can do that, I can overcome anything that comes along my way. And ever since those days, I've been able to advance myself more easily, whatever it is, whether it's business or fitness or whatever, because I always look back on that as a reference. Man, if I can do that, this is nothing. This is nothing compared to that. That was hell. So I'm sure there's people out there I'm talking to right now that are going through these sorts of things. Believe me, if I can do it, you can do it. Look, it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's not supposed to be easy. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but you've got to get through it. Once you get to the other side, you're going to be so effing happy that you did it. I promise you it's worth the struggle. Stay motivated by the result, not by the struggle. Okay, so much for that discussion. Drugs. And sometimes it just happens, like it happened to me. I didn't, it wasn't like a student at the school said, hey, try this marijuana. No, it was a doctor that gave it to me, probably innocently, but look what happened to me. And then my brother, hey man, take some of these pills, you'll feel better. And when you feel bad, you listen to somebody like that. So you take the pills, next thing you know, man, I do feel good. I feel better. I'm euphoric. And then the next day comes, it's like, ooh, I feel bad again. Well, let me take another pill. And then you see what begins to happen. It just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. We could talk a whole podcast just on that, guys, but let's move on. What's another big reason that people are distracted? Pornography. Look, when you're young, the wind blows and you can get an erection. I'm just saying. This is a male. So when you're young, your sexual drive is so high. And guess what? Pornography is another way for you to be motivated with that high, with that experience. So next thing you know, you're looking at porn. When I was a kid, it was Playboy magazines. Well, shoot, now it's like all over the internet. Next thing you know, I have many friends addicted to this. And it's a big problem because the next thing you know, you're spending all your free time on the internet looking at pornography, or you're going to pornography stores, or you're going to pornography studios. In fact, I used to date a girl when I was probably 17 or 18 years old whose father owned it was called The Studio. And that's what they played was, pornography films. And this girl was something else, by the way. She was pretty cool. And all these years later, I ran into her at a restaurant one day, just a few years ago, and we had a nice visit. It's crazy how life's crazy, man, how you go through these experiences and then you lose track of people. The next thing you know, people are calling you and coming to see you and, hey, do you remember me? And this and that. And memories, man, it's just crazy. But it's cool. Not as cool as Brent, but it's cool. Okay, pornography. It's okay if you do it occasionally, but when you do it every day, it's a bad habit. It takes you off your mark. Can't do that, guys. You got to be stronger than that. Gambling. I never had a problem with it, but man, oh man, how many of my friends have problems with that? Wow. Online, in the casinos, going, there's a lot of states now that you can go to these casinos. It wasn't just, back in the old days, it was just like Vegas, but now it's like, wow, all over the place, right? New Jersey and Oklahoma, and I don't even know how many places now that you can go and gamble. And I hate to tell you this, but it's just going to take your money and take your pride and take your life away from you, because the next thing you know, once you're addicted to this stuff, man, you can't quit. And it's a big problem. Big problem. I think there's a Gambling Anonymous.
Oh yeah. There is.
There's probably an anonymous for everything, huh?
Probably.
Yeah. So you can always go online, guys. Go on Google and look up Gambling Anonymous if you got a problem with that. It starts off very innocent, but it ends up bad news, man. Bad news bears. Where did that come from?
All I know is there was
That's
a movie.
That's a saying, bad news bears.
There was a movie.
A movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. But there must have been something to that.
Probably
that the Bears weren't doing. The Chicago Bears probably had a bad year or something.
I don't know. I don't know. Another thing we have to research.
Poor Brent over here. I give him all these tasks to do every week, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm a really busy guy. I don't have time for all this stuff." But he's a good guy, and he always helps me out. So I appreciate that. There was some very nice compliments about you on the last podcast, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you were the one that was going crazy and being funny on the last podcast. You some kind of tickle bug got under your shirt or something. You were laughing most of the time.
I couldn't help myself.
I know.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
I think it's because I had just come off the gym and I was like having some euphoria from the endorphins that were floating around in the brain or something from the exercise.
Yeah.
And I like to cut it up, guys. I'm not always serious, but at the same time, I think you have to mix seriousness with humor to keep people interested in watching the podcast. That's my opinion. So we mix it up a little bit. Okay, moving on, and we'll kind of get through this real quick. Eating habits. Wow, man. I mean, if you're overweight, you got to do something about it, because it's not just about appearance. It's not just about being popular. It's not just about, hey, I'm attractive. It's about physicality. You're hurting your heart. You're hurting your lungs. You're hurting your joints. You got to get off the weight thing, man. You got to quit eating so much. You got to exercise and quit eating so much. It's not that complicated. Now, if you've got genetic issues, like some people just can't lose the weight, got to go to the medical route. There's medications you can take. There's counseling you can go to. Whatever it takes, you have to hit it head on and fix it, because if you don't, as you get older, you're going to just go through hell, and everything is going to be horrible. So take it from me, man. Fix it and hit it head on. If it takes you years to fix the problem, it doesn't matter. If you can do it quick, that's cool too. Eating habits. Bad news, man. Got to get it together if you've got a weight problem.
So I can't go to McDonald's and get that cheeseburger.
See, they got a $5 meal now.
Oh. See?
Yeah, because people were mad. They kept raising their prices, and finally they said, oh, we got to do something about it. We're losing customers. So I think you get like 3 or 4 things for like $5.
Oh, have you heard about the new SpongeBob burger?
No.
Yeah, Wendy's has got a SpongeBob burger.
SpongeBob burger.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. And they got a Frosty too that's a pineapple flavor to go along with it.
Oh my gosh.
So,
crazy. You know, Wendy's was named after, I can't think of the guy that started that, but it was after his daughter. Mm-hmm. He started, and this guy was a KFC franchisee. I think what his name was. He used to do a lot of TV commercials. Great guy. Left Kentucky Fried Chicken, left Colonel Sanders,
Dave.
And started his own. Dave, that's right, Dave Thomas.
Yeah.
Left KFC, who he was underneath the
Colonel.
Colonel's. Yeah, they were like, it was like his mentor.
Dave didn't have a beard.
No, he left him and he started Wendy's, and the rest is history. And he lived in he just died a few years back. Went up too many. In fact, he was in Springfield, Missouri, doing a speech one night.
So do you think he ate a lot of Wendy's?
He ate a lot of Wendy's, but he wasn't overweight.
Okay,
maybe a little bit.
Okay,
yeah. And by the way, that company, the daughter, I think, took over, but eventually the company sold, and she was really upset because she wasn't like a major stockholder anymore, because the company was publicly traded, and she was really upset about the idea that it sold to an entity, and didn't think they had the same kind of morals that her father had, etc. But that just goes with that territory, man. When you're a publicly traded company, anything goes. You lose control. Unless you're Mark Zuckerberg. I've studied this guy at Facebook. The way he set up the corporation, when they went public, he could not be fired. He owns 51% of the voting stock, I think is what it was. And they can't fire him. And they tried to fire him, because early on in the business of Facebook, he did some wild stuff, and they weren't happy, and this and that, and it's pretty crazy. By the way, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, and he's getting ready to do some MMA also. I think he broke his ankle, broke his knee, did something weird, so he's been out of it for a little bit, but he was doing jiu-jitsu tournaments like I do. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
For a guy that's a gazillionaire, who's kind of a nerd.
Yeah.
He figured it out, though, guys. You've got to be healthy. You've got to stay healthy. What good is all that money if you're not physically fit? What good is all that money if you're not healthy? It means nothing. I've lost, like I said the other day, I've lost a couple of friends in the last month or so that were, one from alcoholism and one from smoking. It's not worth it, man. There's better habits to have than that. Well, listen, how are we doing on time?
Amazing.
Amazing. Any breaking news?
Oh, yes.
Okay, let's get to it.
Well, this news is hot and spicy.
Okay, we like that.
So, Mike Jack, who is a Canadian speed eater, he recently broke a Guinness World Record for eating 2 pounds and 7 ounces of sriracha hot sauce.
Oh my gosh, how is that even possible?
I just want to know what happens after you've eaten it.
Bad news, man.
I mean, does anything... Are you in the bathroom a lot?
You're in the bathroom a lot.
Wow, I don't know why you would put yourself through that, but think about that. 2 pounds and 7 ounces.
I don't know how it's possible.
Of sriracha hot sauce. 2 pounds.
I don't know how it's even possible.
That's with a spoon. He didn't eat anything else with it. So it was just the hot sauce.
That's crazy.
Kept coming. So
I don't know
that's the breaking news.
Okay.
And today, there's a couple of important things about today. I don't know if you know any grouches, and I'm not sure why they would make this day, but today is National Grouch Day.
I know plenty of grouchy people.
Why would they celebrate a grouchy person.
Who knows?
National Grouch Day.
That's pretty wild.
But it's also National Cheese Curd Day. So,
cheese curd?
Yeah, cheese curd. Have you ever had cheese curds?
No, thank you.
Ooh, talk about not eating very healthy, but it's just basically
thank you.
A big thing of cheese that's breaded and fried.
Ooh, not my cup of tea, man.
It is really good. It is really good.
I think I will pass on the cheese curd, sir.
Okay. You could eat the sriracha hot sauce, maybe.
Man, I couldn't do that. I'm not that even big on any kind of hot sauce. A little bit.
And then we're doing the podcast a day earlier than normal. So tomorrow, if we would have done the podcast, actually tomorrow is National Bosses Day.
Ooh, I like that.
So if you're the boss of yourself,
you
can celebrate yourself.
I like that. And maybe I'll even get a present tomorrow.
Yes. To yourself.
Yeah, probably get a cake in the face or something, or get a pie in the face is probably what I'll really get.
Oh, that'd be good.
I'll get some more challenges. That'll be my day tomorrow. Every day's challenging. As I was saying earlier, guys, you're gonna get hit every day with some crazy stuff, man. You're gonna wake up in the morning feeling like $1 million. The next thing you know, somebody's gonna throw a curveball at you, and you got to decide, how am I gonna handle it? The way I handle it, man, is I just take a deep breath. I step back, say to myself, hey, you know what? I'm gonna figure this out. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give in. I'm going to figure it. I'm going to hit it head on. That's the key to everything in life, in my opinion. I think the reason I'm so motivated about doing these podcasts is because I've been through so many crazy things in my life. It's just so easy to talk about those situations and then how to remedy those situations.
You have a lot of stories.
I have a lot of stories. And I tell you what, I have so many stories I can't remember them all. And I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll remember this and I'll remember that. It's like, I got to write it down.
But you said earlier the main reason why you do this. Remember?
Yes.
And you're supposed to say...
I'm going to let you say it. Sounds better if you say it.
No. You did this podcast to help people. You didn't care how much it cost, how much energy and time it took. You did it to help people, and that was the only goal. If anything else comes of it, that will be dealt with later. But your saying is as to help
one person's life is as if to have helped the whole world.
Yes.
But to save one person's life is as if to have saved the whole world. Yeah. It's a beautiful, beautiful philosophical statement that I learned when I was a little boy from my rabbi. Mm-hmm. It's an old Jewish statement, proverb, saying, whatever. It's a powerful thought, powerful thing when you think about that. And for you guys to pass it along maybe to somebody else. Thank you, by the way. One of the subscribers told me that they had passed this along to 3 of their friends to listen to. I appreciate that so much. And so just pass it along, guys. And I know we're not everybody's cup of tea, but hopefully we matter to some people. I know some of our subscribers tell me they like to listen. They look forward to this every single week. And if that's our only audience, you know what? That's a lot more than I could have ever imagined when I started this. I'm not about numbers. Some people are really into the numbers, and I get it, but this is not a business to me. This is a passion. And that means a lot to me that you guys are responding the way you respond. Well, any closing thoughts, sir? We didn't get to finish part 2, so next week it's going to be part 3. And then I also have another topic that I wanted to discuss, but we'll save that for the next one.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about.
We weren't as funny this week as we were last week. So I may have to bring a few jokes.
Oh, good. I like jokes. You're a chip off the old block. Where did that come from? Chip off the old block. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I see that one.
Yeah, I see that.
But I don't know. Chip off the old block. What does that suggest? That you're just like your father. But where does that saying come from?
I don't know.
Block.
Lots of
chip.
sayings.
Maybe. I get it. Maybe it's like a chip.
Yeah.
It falls to the ground. Piece of wood
flew off,
and so it's close to the mass.
Chip off the block. Okay.
That's all I can figure.
But that chip probably is going to be thrown away or burnt or something.
I don't want to get too deep here.
Yeah. Okay.
Who was I talking to earlier today? Oh, I know who it was. A clerk at the convenience store, and she said, "Can I get you anything else?" And I said, "Yeah, $1 million would be nice." And she goes, "Well, how about some Twinkies, or how about some Pringles?" Or I said, "You know what? You're very quick-witted." I said, most people are not that quick-witted to come back at me with that kind of a retort. And I was really impressed with that young lady.
Did you buy a Twinkie?
And I did not.
Oh.
But she said if she ever made a lot of money, she'd share it with me. No, she didn't really say that. But I thought that was kind of cool. My other best saying is, hey, if I'm rich, you're rich. If I'm poor, you're poor. And you know what? Not everybody bought into that along my career. So, but the ones that have, I'm still with, and they're very loyal to me, and I'm loyal to them, and I appreciate that. And the ones that didn't like me when I was down, they've all left. And you know what? Have a nice day, and I'll see you somewhere around the corner. But it's sad. I would never be like that to somebody else. Any rate,
life's too short.
Life's too short. And I'm pretty short, too. I've lost 2 inches. I've gone from 5'9" to 5'7" in the last 10 years. How about that?
Wow.
Okay, guys, just remember, if you don't give up, eventually the stars, they're going to line up. And even when they line up, you still have to stay the course, keep going down the road, keep working towards the goals, because there's always a new day and a new goal to set. There is no destination. Everything's a journey in life. One of my best friends, Tony Fuel, called me yesterday, and he's doing really good in business, and he's come so far. I met him 10 years ago. He was living in his car. Now he's probably a millionaire. He's a hard worker, great guy. He coached me in the gym when I was, couldn't even do a pull-up. That was 10 years ago. And he just had so much confidence and faith in me and helped me so much. But I said, you know what, Tony? Doesn't matter where you're at right now, man. You got to get up tomorrow morning and do it again. And the next day you got to do it again and 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 do it again. And keep on, man. So that's what I got to say about everything today. So until next time, guys, we'll see you soon. Stay positive.